Your money is an illusion, a shared dream that could vanish overnight. And it's not a bug in the system, it's the entire point. What you're about to learn will change how you see every dollar in your bank account forever. Welcome to Wealixon, where every story reveals how money, power, and history shape the world we live in. Here, we uncover the patterns behind inflation, crashes, empires, and the lessons they left behind. Let me tell you a story about a trick. A trick so powerful, it built our modern world. A trick so old, we've forgotten it's even there. Our story begins not on Wall Street, but in the dark, cold vaults of medieval Europe. Picture this. Gold and silver were king. If you were wealthy, you had a chest of coins, but carrying that treasure was a death wish. So, the smart money did something sensible. They took their gold to the goldsmith's men with fortified vaults and a reputation for security. The goldsmith would give you a receipt. A simple piece of paper that said, "The bearer of this note can claim X amount of gold from my vault." Soon, people started trading these receipts. Why lug around heavy gold when a piece of paper was just as good? It was more than convenient. It was a revolution. But then, the goldsmiths noticed something, a quiet secret, a pattern. Almost no one ever came for their gold. Out of 100 clients, maybe 1 or 2 would show up on any given day. The rest of the gold just sat there, gathering dust. And a thought, a dangerous, profitable thought, crept into the goldsmiths' minds. What if they had 1,000 gold coins, what was stopping them from printing receipts for 2,000? They could lend those extra, make-believe receipts and charge interest on them. They could profit from gold that didn't exist. It was the ultimate alchemy. Money conjured from thin air, and the trick worked. As long as one simple, fragile condition was met. Not everyone could ask for their gold at the same time. It was the birth of the system we live with today. The moment we accepted paper claims as real money, the chains were broken. Money was no longer tied to a physical object. It was tied to a promise. And promises can be multiplied. The scene shifts to England. The king is broke from endless wars. So, a deal is struck. A group of financiers create the Bank of England. They lend the king a massive sum, far more than they actually hold in their coffers. In return, the king agrees to pay them back with interest, funded by the taxes of the English people. Do you see the pattern? The goldsmith's trick scaled up to a national level. The government spends money that doesn't exist, and you, the taxpayer, are the collateral. Now, let's bring this story home to your bank account. You walk into a bank and deposit $100 of your hard-earned cash. You believe that money is sitting in a vault with your name on it. It's not. In the old version of this story, the bank would operate on what's called fractional reserve. They'd keep a fraction of your deposit, say 10%, and lend out the other $90. That $90 would get spent, end up in another bank, which would then keep $9 and lend out $81. And on it goes. From your single $100 deposit, nearly $1,000 of new money is magically created in the economy. But here's the terrifying part. Only your original $100 was ever real cash. The other $900, it's pure debt. It's a promise to pay. But the story has evolved. The plot has twisted. What I just described is the old magic. The new magic is even more powerful. In the United States today, and in many countries around the world, the reserve requirement is 0%. Since March 2020, your bank is not required to hold a single dollar against the money you deposit. Let that sink in. The fraction is 0. So, if banks don't need your money to lend, how does it work now? The leash has changed. The real control today comes from a quiet city in Switzerland, Basel. After the 2008 crisis, the world's most powerful unelected bankers and regulators, meeting at the Bank for International Settlements, designed a new set of rules, the Basel Rules. Here's how the trick works in the 21st century. Banks don't lend out deposits. They create loans first. When you are approved for a mortgage, the banker doesn't go to a vault. They create new money right there, out of nothing but a keyboard stroke. That money exists because you signed a promise to pay it back with interest. After they've created this new money, the bank then checks its books to see if it has enough of its own shareholder money, its capital, to cover the risk of your loan. It's a backwards, upside-down system. More than 90% of the money in our economy today is not the cash printed by the Federal Reserve. It is bank money. Digital digits born as debt the moment a loan is issued. This design, from the medieval goldsmith to the modern central banker, creates three inescapable monsters. First, inflation. When banks can create endless streams of new money, they dilute the value of every single dollar already in your pocket. You are running on a treadmill that keeps getting faster just to stay in the same place. Since all money is born from a loan, there is always more debt in the system than there is money to repay it. The interest ensures it. The system is mathematically designed so that someone, somewhere, must always fail, default, or borrow more just to survive. It cannot function if we all become debt-free. Banks collect interest on money they created from nothing. And the wealthy, who own real assets, land, stocks, commodities, watch their wealth inflate, while the average worker watches their paycheck buy less and less. History is just this story repeating itself. The bank panics of the 1800s, each one was the same story. Too many promises, not enough reality. A crack in the confidence and a mad rush for the exit, only to find the gold wasn't there. And each time, the response was the same. It bailed out the illusion with trillions of new dollars because the modern world cannot function without it. So, what is the lesson of this story? It's not to hide your money under the mattress. It's not paranoia. It is awareness that money in your bank account is not real wealth. It is a promise. Real wealth is what survives when promises break. It's land, resources, skills, knowledge, and true independence. It's assets that exist outside the digital ledger of debt. Your freedom depends on understanding this machine. Because if you don't, you remain fuel for an engine that was never designed for your benefit. You are the collateral in a game where the house always wins. The goldsmiths of old are gone. But their trick is now the quiet engine of our world. A trick of money, power, and history. And now that you know how it works, you can finally begin to write a different story for yourself. If this glimpse into the hidden engine of our world changed your perspective, then you felt the Wealixon effect. We don't just report history. We connect the dots between the vaults of medieval goldsmiths and the digits in your bank account, revealing the patterns that shape your financial life. Subscribe now, because in a world of financial illusions, the most powerful asset you can have is clarity. Subscribe to Wealixon and let us help you see the map so you can navigate the territory. Don't just watch history unfold, understand the forces behind it. Hit the subscribe button and join our community today.